talking of Suarez, I mean, who would you say was the better player, him or Torres, in Liverpool shirts?
It's a difficult question because they stayed for a similar time period and they were both unplayable at times. They're both phenomenal footballers. I think Suarez had more to his game, so he could hit defences more and he could do stuff that would blow me away. He was horrible to play against, horrible to mark, but Torres just had this wave of confidence where every time he went onto the pitch you felt like the team was going to win. So very close when they were both on top form, but I think Suarez was more consistent and I think Suarez will do it for a lot longer.
Do you think Liverpool have replaced him well with the signings?
No. But it was mission impossible for me.
I think
even initially after Torres it was difficult to go and replace straight away. Suarez come along out of the blue, didn't really know much about him and was just a phenomenal footballer, but I look around now and I think to myself, even still now, who'd you go and get to replace Luis Suarez? If you're Liverpool, you're going to have endless amounts of cash, and then does that player want to come with no Champions League? So it's difficult to replace him. Sturridge is an unbelievable player, got just as much ability as Torres and Suarez, but we can't get him consistently on the pitch.
Who's your favourite partner you played with in midfield, club and country?
Xabi Alonso.
Why?
Xabi Alonso. Because I've never seen a player pass a ball like him, and it just looks so effortless. He's got every single pass in the locker, short, medium, long range, inside the foot, outside, and you talk away to pass and trajectory and timing, and he's a genius when it comes down to passing. And I moved to a number 10 position when he became a centre midfielder for Liverpool, and he sort of added a new dimension to my game. I didn't think I could ever play in a number 10 role, and it was down to the amount of time he used to give me on the ball because of the speed of his thought and the speed of his passing. He was an absolute pleasure to play with.
Just give me your top 3 moments in your career.
Top 3 moments. I think third would have to be Olympiacos. Not so much at the time because it was, we wasn't further down the line in the tournament, but looking back at that moment and that goal, there would have been no Istanbul without that goal and that moment.
The game that made it possible.
That's a game, not at the time because you're still thinking, we're Liverpool, AC Milan are still in, United, Chelsea, Juventus, and we were actually the underdogs all the way through it. But looking back now, you look at that goal and think, it was a big moment. Number 2 would have to be the strike against West Ham in the final.
Watching my brother.
A lucky strike, a lucky strike. I mean, West Ham were the best team on the day. They probably deserved the win. I was tired, I was cramping up, and usually I'd have control that ball and started an attack because it's one of them moments where if you try it, it goes in the air, everyone's on your case. And so that was a moment, a bit of luck. But when I see that goal now and the moment and what we got from it, and obviously Istanbul is the game and the moment that defined me probably as a player for Liverpool. 3-0 down, thinking at half time it's going to be 4-5-6, getting totally dominated, now played. Kaka's on fire, Pirlo's pulling it, Seedorf's just connecting it, and we just get that moment ahead of that, give us that little tiny bit of belief and that little bit of hope. And I think that had a snowball effect for us getting back in that game.
Was that the moment that changed that game, or was there something in the change room at half time?
I think Didi Imam was a big key. I think, we went for 4-4-2. We wanted to use pace to try and hit their centre-halves. Rafa was speaking about them getting on and aging a bit. It didn't work because we didn't have the ball and we got outplayed in the middle of the park. The diamond absolutely killed the two, me and Alonso. They had too many bodies and they killed us. I think bringing Didi on, having the extra man in the middle of the park, we got a bit of control. They took the foot off the gas, thought they'd won it. And we just had that 10-minute moment where we smelt blood and we went for it. And then after that, we got battered again. Everyone thinks from that first goal, we sort of turned the corner and dominated the game. We had moments in extra time where it could have went wrong. Dudek's flipped one over the bar, 1 in a million save. And then you get to the shootout where Shevchenko's stepping up to take the penalty that could win it for them, and he decides to dink it. So there's big moments in the game that shaped Liverpool getting the 5th European Cup. I wouldn't say it was just my goal. I think my goal was one of very many big moments in the game.
So I remember I came to watch Liverpool against Madrid, and I was sitting there thinking, I can't wait. Liverpool and Madrid, great history of both clubs, and you was on the bench that game.
Yeah.
And I was sat there thinking, what would I be thinking if I was in your shoes? potentially your last game in the Champions League at a huge club like Real Madrid. What was you thinking then?
You know me. I wanted to play in that game. This was round about the time when I was doing a lot of thinking about what's next for me, because I'd had a couple of initial chats with Brendan, and he's saying to me, I'm going to start managing your games and I have to look after you, and I want you to be fresh. I don't want you to play 3 games in a week because you might be tired and stuff like that. But this situation was a bit unique in that it was Real Madrid and I wanted to play, and when I got told I wasn't playing, for the sake of the team and the squad and my relationship with Brendan, I took it and I accepted it. But I sat on that bench devastated and I wanted to play. So it is one of them situations.
Kind of made your mind up.
It sort of pushed me more towards making a decision, to move on and try something different.
I'll cheer you up now. I hope you don't get embarrassed reading this. This is a quote. Is he the best in the world? He might not get the attention of Messi and Ronaldo, but yes, I think he just might be. He has great passing ability, can tackle and scores goals, but most importantly, he gives the players around him confidence and belief. You can't learn that. Players like him are just born with that presence. Who's that by?
It's Zidane, because I've read that about a million times.
You've got that above your bed.
If I'm ever down, after moments like Chelsea, I've got that on the wall, and I just look. No, I've read it, and he's actually done me a nice message in a book that was given to me as a farewell present, and he's on page 1, and that message is on page 1 from him, and I'm very flattered and I'm very humble for him to say that.
Who was your toughest opponent then?
Domestically, Keane and Vieira, because they were so fit, they were so strong, they were very clever. Didn't really make many mistakes between them both, and they're players who I used to try and steal little bits of tips off and little bits of movements. I used to watch them and study them a lot away from the game, and certainly 2 heroes of mine. And they were the benchmark when I broke in. And you also had Frank and Scholes coming in behind that, who were slightly different, more attacking players, but I didn't feel like a Scholes or a Lampard, and I didn't feel like a Keane or Vieira. I sort of felt like in the middle of both, sort of in the middle. But they were 4 players who I used to always try and get in amongst that group with.
Talking of Frank, everyone made a big thing about you and Frank playing together for England. Why do you think that was such a big issue, and did you feel it worked or it didn't work?
I think at times it worked and we didn't get the credit we deserved. I think at times it didn't work. I think it's down to us being very similar, as maybe wanting the same positions on the pitch. We like to get forward around the edge of the box and shoot, but for me, I think the amount of talent out there, coaching-wise and manager-wise, and what was available, I think a manager out of the ones that we worked with should have got more out of us, or should have created a system or a formation that Frank Lampard and Steven Gerrard can work in. Because I watched Chelsea and I've seen Frank play with Ballack and I've seen it work. I've seen Frank play with other midfielders, Deco. I've seen him play with other attacking midfielders in a 4-3-3 system and in other systems, and it's worked. So I have that little bit of a frustration and anger with the debate that, was it Frank's fault? Was it my fault? Or was it the fault of a manager not getting the best out of both of us? Because we are two good footballers who can offer the same in the same team, for me.
And adaptable.
Yeah, we've got to be adaptable.
So why do you think we didn't do as well as we should have? Everyone called us the golden generation.
Yeah, well, I think that tag was a little bit unfair. I think the expectation was unrealistic, but I look back at it now. The couple of quarter-finals, the shootouts that we got to, I thought we were a good team, and I'll argue for as long as you want, in that we were a good side. And I think little small details and little small margins, we could have been heroes for England if we'd have got through a shootout or got through a moment or got a goal. I think we were very, very close. Yeah, a lot of people think we're failures, a lot of people still think that we were a good team, but for me, we were close to getting into a semi-final, and then who knows what had happened.
Do you think the domestic rivalries within the players in the squad would have had anything to do with it?
Possibly. I felt like there was still a couple of clicks there. I always feel with England that it takes 5-6 days for the team and the squad to connect. I feel like when you get to England, you want to have your lunch and go to bed and hide and keep away from everyone, because there's a shyness. And for me, I think there needs to be an England atmosphere where when you turn up, it's almost like you want to be with each other. I look at foreign players in the Liverpool squad now, and they pack the bags a week before and they can't wait to get to their national teams and squads, and they're loving it. And I think with England now, it's a bit like, we're away for 8 days and I don't really know him, and I'm a bit shy and a bit quiet. That's got to go.
Do you think St George's might change that?
I think it's got the basis of an unbelievable site, but I think they need to make it a bit more realistic around it. They need to put a bit of a golf course in. You know, they need to make it a little bit more friendly for the players, because it's a top place to train and prepare, but away from training and away from the training pitch and the games, it can be boring.
Yeah.
So I think the FA need to look into adding to it and making it even better, but we need to create that atmosphere where England players are desperate to get away and they want to do well.
Obviously, you're off to LA. You looking forward to it? You taking the family, everyone?
Yeah, we're all off. A bit of a change. You know, I've been in Liverpool, you know, all my life, so I think the timing's right for a bit of a fresh challenge. Carry on enjoying my football for 18 months, and I'm told I'm going to probably the best place in the world to enjoy 18 months of football. So I'm really looking forward to it and excited.
All right. Well, good luck, man. Thanks for your time, and enjoy yourself in LA.